Welcome back. I don't know about you, but a lot of times when I watch chess masters go through games on YouTube, they come up with a situation in which one player has trapped another player's pieces and it becomes useless, and I always wondered how that happened. But recently, in a correspondence game on Lichess, I was able to do that with one of my opponent's pieces, and I just want to look at the game to make sure that I played it right and make sure that my opponent played it, the way that they should have, or to find out exactly where they made their mistake. Okay, here in this position, it says that I have a very slight advantage. Now, what I played here was I pushed my c-pawn because I thought that if they took and I took back with my d-pawn, our queens would be facing each other, but they're both defended, and their bishop would be forced back. So I thought that was a good move, and then the bishop would be maybe not permanently back there, but it would be back there for a long time, right? That's what basically what I thought would happen. Their bishop would be back here. It might eventually have to come around. And as I was thinking about that, because in daily games, you can think for a long time, and you don't have to make a move, because in this case, I think it was a 2-day game, so, I have 48 hours to make my move. If I don't immediately think of what I should play, I can just leave it. I can come back later and take another look. So I thought about this for quite a while, and I thought, if that happened and they ended up pushing their bishop back, I could trade for this knight. They would take it with their pawn, and then that bishop would never be able to get out. Even if it was able to come back here at some point, their own doubled pawns would be in the way. But the engine says that by far my best move is h3 here. And then they would take this knight, and I would take back. But then they would play d5, and then I would play c5. But then their bishop wouldn't end up being trapped, I don't think. But what I ended up doing was I played what I thought I should, and they took back, which was I think their best move, and I took back. So I thought I was well on my way to my plan of trapping this bishop. But it turns out, I can see on the move list here that they made a mistake by moving the bishop back. So I've got to find out what they should have played here. Okay, they should have taken this knight now, and it says I would have taken back. Well, because my queen would be under threat. My queen and my rook. That bishop would be threatening my queen and my rook, so I would probably need to take it back. I don't know if taking back with the knight would be the best move. And it says if that happened, then they would take my queen, and I would take back, and then they would move their bishop back. Oh no, it says then they would take this knight. Wait, then they would be a piece ahead, wouldn't they? Wait, did I follow that out right? Okay. Sorry, they take on e2, I take on e2, they take my queen, I take their queen. Okay, so we're even so far. But then they take my second knight here, I take the knight on f6, that's what I missed. And instead of taking back, they would take this pawn over here, and we would be even. Okay, well, I'm not surprised that my opponent didn't see that. They moved their bishop back. I thought that their mistake was before this, but apparently that was their mistake because they missed this complex series of events that I just tried to outline, and I'm not even sure I understood. But when they did that, I was pretty sure I had their bishop trapped. Oh, and it says my best move is queen to c2. By far. Well, by half a point. And then my next best move is taking this knight now. All right, well, I didn't know that. I thought if I took their queen, and they took back, and then I took this knight, then their bishop would be trapped. But it says it's +1 if I just get my queen out of the way. So this took us, wait, it said 1.6 for a second, didn't it? But it's just +5. Okay. So it's their best move to take back and my best move to take the knight. Okay, well, that's what I did, and they took back. And now this is what I had been hoping for. This bishop will never find its way out. So where did my opponent go behind then if we're still between +1 and -1? And it says my best move is f3, which I played. Wait, was this their mistake? Where they came in here? Because they played bishop to h3 here instead of bishop to e6, which is what they should have played. They went to h3, and no, it's still between +1 and -1. And my best move is to get a rook over, so I did. And now they definitely need to bring this one back. Maybe this is where they went wrong, because the move list, which the game review ran, is disagreeing with the engine quite a bit. They're saying it's at +1 here, but every time I make a move, it changes it to 0 point something. Okay, well, they played knight to d5, which puts us at +1. Okay, the game review, or this little automatic analysis that runs, missed the fact that that was at least an inaccuracy. And I'm supposed to play g4 or king to f2. Well, I did play king to f2. The reason I think that I played that is because I thought they were about to, take this knight, and if I took back, then this knight would be open. Or if they took this knight and I took back with my knight, there would be vulnerabilities here. But I'm kind of surprised that I found that. But now we're back under +1. This whole time I thought I was well ahead because I thought they're playing without a piece. That even if this pawn comes forward, I'm still going to have those pawns blocked, and that dark squared bishop will eventually have to sacrifice itself for a pawn. But then they took the knight, and my best move is to take back with the bishop or take that rook. But I took back with the knight, which puts us back below +1. Well, I'm not sure why. But that's only if they play bishop to e6. But they didn't. They played bishop to f5. And now I took the rook. And when they took back, I thought, why not trade off another piece? Because they're playing without a piece over there. We're even on material, but that piece isn't going anywhere. It's not listed, but I played rook to d1 to trade off the rooks. And they did trade the rooks. And I took with my knight. And again, I thought I was way ahead here, but the engine was having trouble. It jumped up to +2 for a second, but now it's down to +1 again. And again, they need to play bishop to e6 or f6, but they played a5. I'm supposed to play g5. Well, I just went after the bishop straight away thinking, let's do another trade. They're supposed to drop it back. This time they actually did. And then I started pushing my pawns. Well, yeah, that eval bar was jumping around there, wasn't it? They brought their king like they're supposed to. I brought my pawn. I think I'm doing okay here. And again, I'm willing to trade off another piece because I don't think that bishop can go anywhere. They brought their king. What were they supposed to do? They were supposed to play f6. No, sorry, that's g. They were supposed to play f6 or g6 here. Wait, now it's +2 all of a sudden? We got to +2 without any of these being a mistake or even an inaccuracy. But that's a mistake. Oh, I was at +4 if I could have just taken that pawn. Okay, well, I thought to just keep going after the bishop. They can't take this pawn just yet because, you know, the knight's guarding it, and I was eventually going to push it forward. But it says now they should take over here. Wait, no, it said that for a second, but then it went away. Now they need to play f6, but instead they put their bishop down here. So that's 2 mistakes in a row for my opponent. I think one or both of those should have been counted as blunders because here we're at +2, and that mistake takes us to +4.5. But then my inaccuracy takes us back to +2, so that should have been counted as a mistake. If this is a mistake, king to e7, going from +2 to 4.5, but then we go back down to +2, that should also be a mistake. But then this takes us back to +5. Now, I don't know what their plan was here. Maybe they were thinking about advancing the pawn to protect the bishop. Again, my best move is to take this g-pawn, but I thought, why not check? I checked. And then my idea, of course, was to go after their light-squared bishop. Now, I thought if they did move the pawn forward to protect it, I would go ahead and trade for it because I could easily bring my king over here and get that pawn, and they don't have a dark-squared bishop, effectively. But instead, they came forward, which allowed me to fork, so they don't get a chance to push the pawn to protect the bishop. They have to get the king out of check, and then I'm going to get the bishop for free. So yeah, this whole evaluation thing threw me for a loop because I thought I was ahead as soon as I had trapped that bishop. I thought I was ahead 3 points or so on the evaluation way back there. And I was pretty proud of myself that I saw that as early as I did, which the computer called this move an inaccuracy. But I thought it was pretty good. I guess it would not have been an inaccuracy even after they took it and I took back. But yeah, my opponent played what I expected them to instead of doing what one of their best moves were, which was to take one of these 2 pieces. All right, well, I started this video with a little bit different intent than the way it ended up. I was hoping to show how excellently I played to trap that dark squared bishop like you sometimes see in the master games. It's like, I've rendered that one piece ineffective for the rest of the game. But instead, my opponent could have easily gotten out of it, apparently. And their mistake was pushing it back. I'm still confused, though. What if they had played their best move? Couldn't I have still trapped that? If they had played here, it says I could have taken it with the knight or taken their queen. But wait, why not just take the bishop with the queen? Well, what's the problem with taking with my queen? That would have been horrible. Oh, because their rook's guarding it. Wow. Okay, well, I got that now. But that leaves the knight undefended when I take their queen. Okay, so let's say I take their queen. They're going to take with the A rook, and then I'm going to take back, and they're going to take back. And now my opponent's up a piece, which makes up for the... Okay, I understand now. My opponent is up a piece because I wasn't able to defend all that. Even if they trap their bishop, they have an extra piece, so they'll be even with me, and that's why it's even. So even if I play my best move here, and it says now, okay, in this situation, their best move is to take back. Earlier in the line that I looked at, they weren't going to do that for some reason. But if they take here, and then I take their bishop, and they take back, we're dead even. My opponent's up a pawn, but they have an isolated doubled pawn here. Their king is open, and a doubled pawn here. And I need to just bring a rook over. Wait, bringing the A rook over, wouldn't that allow them to get behind mine? It says they wouldn't. Why wouldn't they? I have to know. I don't like the looks of that. It says we're even, and they're going to take that. And then I'm going to play rook to D1 to threaten their knight. They're going to get their knight out of danger, and then I'll take it, which undoubles their pawns. And then I'm going to protect my... No, I'm going to go after theirs. Now they're going to take mine. I'm going to take one of theirs. They're going to protect this one. Then I'm going to get that one. Aren't they going to go after this one? It says no, but why wouldn't they? I'm just going to not care about it. Really. They're going to take, and then I'm going to take their A pawn. I only move. And even though now they have this passed pawn, we're even. Okay, well, that's a long line that didn't happen, but good grief. Well, I'm glad my opponent didn't find that and that they did this. because then it all worked out the way that I had planned, even though the engine thinks I'm not that far ahead just yet. So anyway, I was pretty happy with the game. The game review here says I didn't make any mistakes, just a couple of inaccuracies. But as you saw, at least one of those inaccuracies should have been a mistake because it went from +4 back to +2. Anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for spending your time here. I'll see you next time.